Welcome, welcome, welcome to Eight Questions with. It's Thursday. It's the last show of the week, and we're glad you guys are here. Uh, our guest will be here in about 15 minutes, and I want to say thank you again for everybody who has made this week just an outstanding one. One of the best weeks we've had so far in terms of growth and viewership. Douglas Epps on Tuesday and James Shaver yesterday. Just outstanding. Very engaging chats. A lot of great questions. A lot of a lot of interest in the guests. Well, we're going to keep that rolling with our next guest, uh, with Australian actor and activist. Now, he's already shown me how to use his name once, but I'm just going to call him Val until he gets here. Then he can say it again. But his name is Val. Uh, it's the name's on the his name's right there. So if you can pronounce it, I do know it's a Greek name. Um, he is Australian, but it's a Greek family name. Uh, yeah, that's the problem. I don't know. I couldn't pronounce Triceratops yesterday. Triceratops tops yesterday. Okay, I mangled it today too. I don't know where that's coming from. I know the words, believe me, in my head, I know what I'm saying, but I come out and they're coming out like I'm chewing marbles. Um, so Val is he's a tremendous human being. He's one of my favorite guys, favorite artists I've talked to. I interviewed him once before for the blog. Um, Eight Questions with in the Inner Circle. Uh, yeah, we're going to talk to him about how he has been dealing with the pandemic in Australia and what it's like to be living down there now. They are, as we know, they are at least as of last month, they're still in lockdown. So we will find out if they still are today. Um, it's a shame because it seems like we are slowly tilting that way ourselves all of a sudden. So we're hopefully not going to, but I'm starting to I'm starting to get that funny feeling that because of that we are. So I do recommend that if you see that or hear about it a little bit more, just take precautions, keep wearing your masks, um, keep your social distancing going, wear those masks, get that vaccine shot. Don't hesitate. I did. That was stupid of me. I've been really lucky, and I was real lucky. I don't go anywhere. I don't have very much interaction, but boy, it could have been really turned out not so good. If I would have run across somebody who did have it. So I am due to get my next shot on the 14th. So a week from Saturday. Um, so if you haven't gotten your vaccine shot yet, please do so. All right. So while we're doing that, we're waiting for our guests who'll be here shortly. You know what time it is? Say it all together. It's calendar time. Calendar time. So our calendar kicks off this Sunday with actress Kelly Helen Thompson, who will be here on the midnight hour. I am hosting the show this Sunday for the reasons I just mentioned before. I'm getting my shot on the 14th. I fully expect to be out of it on the 15th. Based on what we already saw, I was loopy as hell after the first shot. I told Hobbs, I said, I am not going to take that chance and come across as goofy on the 15th. You have to let's trade our nights. So he was very kind enough to do that. So I will be hosting the midnight hour this Sunday, and I will be blistering that because you guys need to show up to meet Kelly Helen Thompson. See, next Tuesday we are back here for Eight Questions with actress and alternative performing artist Lilia Mortis. She is based in Los Angeles. Wow, I cannot wait. I love these type of performers. I've seen some of those before in the Jim Rose sideshow circus. Um, I've seen them in like Circus du Soleil. They're they're that type of performance. Um, there's a little bit of burlesque in here. I think she's a fire walker um, or a fire eater or both. Um, she can do a lot of different things, and so we're going to talk to her about her career, Lillian Mortis. No, that's not a ghost. That's just my light. Okay, we have no show for the 11th. We're dark on the 11th. I might do a pop up just to come up there and just to keep I might do a live stream just to, you know, talk to people just to see what's going on. But we're back on the 12th, Thursday the 12th, with Rick Sangra from Underworld Subroxa, which is a film distributor. Rick deals with all sorts of obscure and hard to find horror titles, foreign horror, extreme horror, um, just all sorts of fun stuff. And we'll be talking about that, and along with starting a business, especially a boutique label in this day and age. We'll see how his business is doing and what his plans are for it. And I can't wait to talk to him about that. Uh, the 15th, I do not know what Hobbs has planned for the 15th, so all I can tell you is to show up on the midnight hour on the 15th. We'll see what we're doing. I know we're doing something. Then we're back on August 17th. We are back with a very good friend of mine, a good friend of mine. He's a military historian, and Chris Buckles. I knew him when him and I were both doing music. He was a music journalist. He wrote for Band Magazine, and I found out later on that he was also a military history buff, and neither one of us knew that about each other. Uh, Chris Buckles has written many books. He's also a master model builder and a judge. He served as a technical advisor on Red Tails, Steven Spielberg's movie. On the 18th, we have scheduled Iva Lycos from the Final Code. This will be Iva's first time with us here on live. I've also interviewed her before on Eight Questions With. She's a beautiful lady. Her and her husband Carlos are very hardworking filmmakers, and they know how to bring the noise. I reviewed one of their first films called The Slider, which I liked. It needed more Iva in it though. That was my biggest complaint. Uh, Needed more of her into it. That show will probably be starting early. I don't have the exact time yet. It might be 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'll figure that out and let you guys know. Then on the 19th, we have a young lady from Texas, a motivational speaker. Just a really super positive young lady who has overcome a lot of obstacles, including a very scary marital situation, to come out on the other side. And now she's encouraging others to live their best lives. And she's very sassy and perky, and I really like her. Her name is Tammy Smith. She'll be with us on the 19th. On the 22nd, a midnight hour, we have Michael Mosatos. He's an actor, director, writer, producer, and he's got building a horror franchise called The Butcher. He's been working on, so we'll be talking to him about that. And then August 24th, again, we go back home from my old days in San Jose as we welcome in singer-songwriter Steve Hartso. I've known Steve for over 30 years. I've booked his band many, many times. We reconnected a little over a year ago. I didn't know that he relocated to North Carolina, and he didn't know I relocated to Michigan. So we caught up, and he's still making music. So I'm very happy to see that he'll be here on the 24th. And then we have music critic or movie critic Michael Haberfallner. That will be a 2 o'clock start because Michael writes research my trash. He's written in many. Hey, Hobbs. And here's our guest. Oops. There you are.
There
Sorry
you
about that.
How
I
are
hit the
you?
wrong. Good, good. I hit the wrong button. Wow. See, that's because I'm all nervous because I can't because I'm gonna try to pronounce your last name and I'm gonna just kill it. So I decided to wait. I said, you know what? I'm just gonna say his name's Val, and then when he gets here, then he'll tell me what his name is, so I don't crush it again. That's not, that's the best way to do it.
All right. Let me
So
adjust that there. There we go. Nice and comfortable.
good, good. Yep, yep. We're comfortable. We got refreshing drinks here. I drink coffee. I got coffee going here. My friend Hobbs is here. He's here to make sure that we have a good time. He's my co-host on the Midnight Hour, my co-pilot. So him and I do another show on Sunday nights, and he is also known as the Spectacular King. Halloween, Val. Halloween belongs to Hobbs. Oh my gosh, yes, yeah. Just wait till October shows up. It is known as the Spectacular month.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Yeah. How can Hobbs hear me?
Huh?
Can Hobbs hear me?
Yes, he certainly can. Yep, he can. He
Hello.
can. Yep, he can hear. He can hear you and see you.
Nice to meet you.
Uh,
And Halloween has become very popular here over the years.
oh, really? So I mean,
Yeah.
what do you in Australia? So
Yeah.
it seems to be getting really popular here, but it seems to be getting more popular here with the adults and a lot less with the kids.
Oh, isn't that funny? Yeah. Yeah, and it has such resonance in the United States. It's national institution. But it's funny here. Years ago, when I was growing up, I always knew about Halloween, but nobody really celebrated it. Now, oh boy, the stores, Kmart, Target, all the little mom and pop stores on the corner. Month and a half before October 31, the shelves are full.
Oh yeah.
Scythes and sickles and plastic pumpkins and real pumpkins and
Oh, it's like that here now. People post pictures up. They actually have like a. It's almost like a little like who can spot the first Halloween decorations, and so yeah, they're already up over here.
oh well. And it gets every year it gets earlier and earlier and earlier when they stock the shelves with things to sell. Like these days, we'll generally see things for Christmas up around up around September.
It must be so hard though. See, I can't. I have a hard time thinking about you guys doing Halloween and Christmas because that's your summer. You're in the middle of summer,
Yeah.
and that's so weird to me. It's like how it's supposed to be cold and snowy and all that, but down in Australia and New Zealand, it's opposite. You guys are doing summer. Right.
Yeah.
Well, right now you're still toward the end of winter, right?
That's right. Yeah, it's fairly chilly here at the moment, but yeah, I would like to see a white Christmas one day on my bucket list to get over to the US. I will. Seen a lot of snow in my time, but I'm dreaming of a white Christmas.
Does Australia get snow?
Yes, yeah, in certain parts, certain areas. One of the more popular ski resorts is a place called Mount Kosciuszko, and that's a very, very popular range. The snowy mountain range, part of the Australian Alps national parks. It's in New South Wales, and yeah, a lot of snow, a lot of powder, a lot of simple runs, a lot of deadly runs. Very, very popular with the tourists and with the Australians. I was lucky enough to go there on occasion because my mum and dad paid for a private school education, so I was very, very lucky in that respect. I got to go and see and do a lot of things during high school. Yeah, haven't seen snow for a long time though.
No, we generally here in Michigan, let's see. Oh, Hops is in there saying hello there, my friend. Now he's sharing us out. Yeah. And now he's singing Christmas carols. I think we tilted him to the edge. Yeah, it's so weird. We used to get snow in Michigan. We used to get it as far as early as October. I've seen snow fall in October, and then it goes October and November and then December. But as the years have gone by, our snow while it's remained cold, but our snow has slowly eroded from a month, like a period of months. It has slowly evolved to maybe it's snowing heavy for about 5 weeks, end of January and February. That's our snowfall.
It's scary how the climate's consolidated in that respect. You got shorter snow period, shorter, more powerful wildfires, bigger monsoons, hurricanes.
Yeah,
I was reading yesterday that one of the senators on Capitol Hill was fighting for a chunk of money for Louisiana because they've been hit so badly by hurricanes. We're getting pounded. It seems like our severe weather is getting worse and worse. Of course, we'll be talking about this a little later, but in California, we've had tons of wildfires up and down the West Coast. The last 4, 5, 6 years, we had California, Oregon, and Washington are in severe drought. Some parts of Canada is in drought. It's saying that it's slowly drifting over to us, but we've actually had a very wet summer, believe it or not. Our summer here has been very mild and very wet. We've had a lot of rain here, a lot more than I can remember. It's just really weird. Now we're looking on, and that means we're gonna have a wet winter. I mean, honestly, any chance that we get snow or rain, it's a good thing because we live by the Great Lakes. So anytime that it rains and snows in the Great Lakes, it's a really good thing for us. The new normal.
Yeah. I do know that it snows pretty heavily in New Zealand. I've seen that. I've seen pictures of New Zealand with big snow, but I wasn't sure about Australia. I wasn't sure if you guys, because I think you guys are a lot more flatter than New Zealand, right?
Yeah. We tend to have a lot of open expanse and the snow fields are a little bit more consolidated. I mean, the major destinations in Australia for snow are Mount Baw Baw, Selwyn, Mount Buller, Falls Creek, Mount Hotham, Charlotte Pass, Perisher Valley, and I've forgotten the big one. Oh, of course, Thredbo. Packed in certain places. You go out to Western Australia, and there's no snow there.
Right.
It's just got one weather. The weather report is the same every day. It's hot and it's dry. Move on.
Now, what city do you reside in, Val?
I'm in Melbourne, in Victoria, in the southeastern suburbs. I live in a suburb called Rowville, which is near the base of what are known as the Mount Dandenong Ranges. It's a beautiful part, pardon me, a beautiful part of the city, and one of those areas where you'll have on one side of the road lots of farmland. You'll see things growing there. There's an artichoke farmer up the road, cows, horses, and then across the road there's an Aldi and a Kmart.
Oh wow!
But they haven't encroached too much on that farmland yet. There's still a lot of farmland, a lot of agriculture.
Oh yeah, I would think Australia is mostly everybody lives pretty much on the coast. I mean, the interior is pretty undeveloped.
It's a lot of
wide open. That's a good thing, though. I mean, because by the time you get your technology out there and whatnot, you'll be able to harness the land. I mean, it's a good thing. You got open spaces, possibilities.
Absolutely, yeah.
Over here, we're crowded.
That I was born in. I was actually born in New South Wales in a place called Broken Hill, which is famous for having all of the Mad Max films, or for the most part, Mad Max films filmed out there. That was just a mining town with red roofs, and now it's a film capital.
I'm sure it's a hot place for tourists too.
Yes. Oh yeah, but it's not too hot here at the moment. It's only 13 degrees. What's that? 58 odd degrees Fahrenheit. 13 degrees Celsius.
Oh, it's just only 58 where you're at. That's a pleasant day. That's not.
Yeah.
I'm sitting over here at 80 right now.
80. Wow.
But yeah, so let's get into this a little bit. So one thing, you already answered one question right there. I mean, how did your folks get meet, and how did they end up in Australia?
Well, Mum was born in a place called Texas. There's a place in Queensland called Texas.
Oh my gosh!
I know. She was.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Let me just adjust my phone here. My sincere apologies there. Need to make sure that the power doesn't drain. I've got it plugged in.
Like you froze. Let me back out and bring you back in. Oh no, you're there.
Nope.
So, nope, you froze. Let's see. We'll put your wave your hand up in front of you. Oh, there you go. You're back. All right. Oh. So there's a place in Australia called Texas. Now,
yes, Texas, Queensland. Yeah, it's where oops, oh dear, I think I've lost you now myself. Oh no, sorry. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Yep. Gotcha. So she was born in Texas. That must be a lot of fun to go up there and saying that to folks.
Yeah, when I was growing up, I was always I had fun with it. But yeah, my mom was born in Texas, the Texas, Queensland. It's where her family ended up for a short period of time, because her heritage and most of her brothers and sisters and siblings, or many of them rather, hail from Italy, from Sardinia.
Okay.
So as happened back in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s, the families would travel over to the New World. Australia was full of promise, and her the mother and father and a couple of the brothers came over and established eventually where they would move to, a place called Tamworth, which is where the I dare say nearly world famous country music festival occurs every year. Tamworth in New South Wales, and they were one of the first Italian families to settle there. They huge farms. They were tobacco farmers, and they pretty much grew up there most of their lives. There's one or two. There's a handful of cousins, second cousins, still living there, but for the most part, everybody moved away, moved to Queensland, to South Australia, New South Wales, where Mum is now living. She's in New South Wales. But my dad, he was born in Romania, and his family mostly from Greece. So they did the same thing. My dad, his sister, my auntie Christine, his mum and dad, or Yaya and Papu, as we call them in Greek. When your grandmother and your grandfather in Italian is nonna and nonno, godfather, grandfather, similar. In Greek, it's Yaya, grandma, Papu, granddad.
Okay.
So on a boat, over they came in one of the first boats to pull into Sydney Harbour, the General Ballou, it was called. The boat that Mum's family came over on was the Re d'Italia, which was the King of Italy. There were two boats from Italy. One was the Regina, Queen of Italy. The other one was the Re d'Italia, King of Italy. Mum and Dad ended up meeting. Dad eventually got a job with the railways as a land surveyor, and they drove all over South Australia, New South Wales. Dad's work took him everywhere, and then eventually, at some point, wound up in Broken Hill, where I was born, and then my younger sister, a few years younger, as well. We then moved to another town called Cootamundra, which is famous for its wattle flowers. There's a song about it too, the Cootamundra wattle. Can't remember who sang it. And then one day they decided, well, Dad said, I'm not going to work for the railways anymore. He left that job. They moved to New South Wales, Sydney, North Sydney specifically. Opened a restaurant, a seafood restaurant.
Oh, nice.
Which they owned and operated for about 11 years. Very, very, very popular, very successful. We had family all over New South Wales. Eventually, most of the family were in either southern Sydney or us in northern Sydney. Yeah, and the rest, I dare say, is history. I eventually moved away from New South Wales only about 6.5 years ago. I always wanted to live in Victoria because the one thing the state of Victoria does is very well is education. The work they do in the mental health sector is amazing, and culturally, for me, it's a wonderful fit. There's a lot of Greeks here. There's a lot of Italians here. Victorians steadfastly refuse to do bad coffee. So.
Oh, good. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
So, so now I know if I go there, that's where I want to go. Dick wants to know what time is it over there right now. I do believe it's a little past 10 o'clock, right? 10:15 in the morning.
Quarter after 10. Yep, indeed.
It's Friday, so in theory, you should be able to tell me if the Steelers won tonight. since they're playing tonight, and you already should know that.
Because I'm
It's
in the
our
future. That's right.
it's our first day of football season here, American football. It's our first
Yeah.
day. So
Um,
yeah, when I interviewed Sean, yeah, I found that out. I have a friend of mine who lives in New Zealand. Now this is really funny. It's like I have a friend in New Zealand, and her and I have talked for years. And I just sit there and I'm just like, pinging, just sending her messages and stuff like that. And I just never, I don't know what it was, because maybe because she always answered back most of the time. So
yeah.
I never really thought about the time difference. And then one day I typed in, what time is it in New Zealand? Oh my God, was I freaking embarrassed? I've been sitting over there, like over here, sending her messages like it's 2 o'clock in the damn morning over there. And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
2 in the morning, 2:30 in the morning. I'm sitting over here going, ding ding ding, how are you? How have a good day? It's like she's sleeping. And I'm sending her messages. I'm like, you know what? That's so now I'm a lot more cautious and a lot more aware what time I send my messages. But
Yeah.
she never once got mad at me. She never once sit there and say, "Dude, you're killing me. You're pinging me at 3:30 in the fucking morning."
I'm
No,
dying on here.
she never got mad at me.
I
So
had the same experience too with a lot of my American friends. In particular, my friend Sonia, who lives in Missouri, and my friend Dick, who lives in Oregon. I forget sometimes, and then oh goodness me, it's 2 a.m. in the morning, 4 a.m. in the morning. I'm so sorry, but they're okay with that.
yeah,
They
yeah.
roll over and say to the husband or the wife, "Oh, it's just my crazy friend in Australia."
Oh, so you done a reverse? Okay, yeah. 'Cause I just never really thought about it. And then I like interviewed Sean, and I'm like, well, then I typed in what time it is in Australia, and I'm like, holy crap, I'm going to be talking to him, and it's going to be Friday morning, just
Yeah.
like it is now. So um, so now that you moved down to what when did you start getting into acting? I mean, was this before you came to Victoria? Was this did you when did you get the bug?
Oh boy, as young as I can remember, I have memories of being in my auntie's living room. I must have been I'd have to check with mum on this, but I must have been all of about 12. And I remember putting on this crazy floral shirt and pants with bell bottoms, putting on Tom Jones and just dancing in the living room. It's not unusual to be loved. That is my first memory of performing in front of people. Mum says it went back many years prior to that, but I don't have much of a memory of that. And
Right.
so that's all I ever wanted to do. All I ever wanted to do was act and be in front of the camera. Uh, and over the years, I mostly self-taught myself how to work behind the camera. Because at quite a young age, I realised that at some point, if I achieved some sort of success, these swarthy Mediterranean looks will only serve me for so long, and people won't want to put me in front of the camera again. So if I can learn how to make the movies myself, then I can hire myself and put myself in front of the camera.
Right.
And
Right.
then all I've ever wanted to do. High school, uh, I took a little bit of a little bit of a parallel path for a few years when I guess I should have been working and studying full time. I went to the National Institute of Dramatic Arts, NIDA, uh, became a course junkie, but I had
Yeah,
to work.
your training's very impressive.
Oh, thank you very much. I
I looked at it, and it's incredible.
I even had the I was even blessed to be able to work with Howard Fine for a few days. Oh boy, oh did he turn everything I thought I knew uh, on its head. He doesn't like to be called a guru, but he's my guru. Um, Sorry to digress. That parallel path that I took, I ended up working in the entertainment industry to earn money and still be involved in the industry that I loved. So I had this parallel path where I was doing some acting on the side, and then I was working for entertainment companies like Warner Brothers, Warner Music, Roadshow, 20th Century Fox, and I was either in administration or I was out on the road selling CDs, LPs. Remember them? VHS.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Over here, yeah. Over here, yeah. That's a good question. Let me ask you real quick. Do you still have video stores in Australia? Can you buy DVDs and Blu-rays?
yes, yeah, we slowly but surely so many of the chains that I used to work with here are pretty much gone. Blockbuster, Video Easy. We had some huge chains, Brash's, Chandler's, and they were all about music and entertainment, and they're gone. Some of the independent chains like Civic Video, Network Video, there's still the odd store here and there. You'd be surprised. Sometimes you can walk into a milk bar or our equivalent of your drugstore, and there's a little shelf over in the corner with some dusty DVDs and a couple of Blu-rays, and the sun's faded the covers. It's like a little time capsule there. But for the most part, if you want to buy or rent your CDs or your DVDs, it's a Kmart thing, it's a Target thing. We have a wonderful chain that has gone from strength to strength, known as JB Hi-Fi. They used to be all about music, CDs. Back in the day when we had the laser discs. Remember the laser discs?
Oh yeah.
They were into all of that technology. Whenever it came out, whenever Sony decided to invent something new, they jump on board. Mini disc, yeah. The CD single, yeah. But then they expanded, and now JB Hi-Fi sells everything from refrigerators to Hewlett-Packard laptops. But they still have mountains and mountains of DVDs, Blu-rays, LPs. Big comeback. Wow, relatively big comeback. I mean, it's a big market.
Yeah.
But they stock a lot of that stuff that we grew up in. I don't know why they've become so expensive now. The latest Rolling Stones LP, the last one, years ago they released it. It was like $70 to buy, and I remember walking in to record stores back when I was listening to, when I started with Warner Music. I fell in love with the Warner Music roster: Jackson Browne, Joni Mitchell. They were like $20.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah. That's a really good question. I mean, yeah, it's it's all like that over here too. Like $60, and the cost of the Blu-rays has suddenly gone up too. Some of the DVDs and Blu-rays. I went to go get a movie, and most of the time, a brand new DVD release will be about 17, anywhere between 16 to $18, and then a new DVD, a Blu-ray, will be between $20 and $23. I went over to check out one movie I went out and checked out one movie, and they were like $30 for the Blu-ray. I'm like,
Yeah.
holy shit, when did that happen? I'm like, I was gonna buy it. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna, because I was in there like I was at a Target, as a matter of fact, and I looked at the Wonder Woman 1984, and Warner Brothers had that out for $12.99 on Blu-ray. They were just giving it away.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I went over and I went over. Okay, great. They're selling it for only $13. Let me cruise on over there and pick up the movie I'm looking for. It's there, but it's twice as much. And I'm going like, wow, that's just amazing to me. Let's see. Let's go to the chat real quick. Oh yeah, okay. Hobbs wants to know if you like Dunkaroos.
Dunkaroos.
Yeah.
We don't. We. I think there's one shop in in the city, because there are some specialist stores that will sell candies from the UK and from the US, and I'm trying to think of the name of the company that makes them. Is it Betty Crocker?
It might be. That sounds right.
Yeah, yeah. I've actually seen Dunkaroos, but yes, anything that I can uh,
Good day.
uh, stick in a cup of coffee, I
Yeah.
I love.
Uh
And I've got a real thing for Hershey's as well. Hershey's
oh,
we can get anywhere here.
you can or can't get Hershey's.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, in on the shelves we have a couple of supermarket chains here called Coles, Coles, and Woolworths. Uh, uh, and they all have an aisle, a dedicated aisle for the confectionery, for the candies, and there's always Hershey's there. Hershey's chocolate kisses, Reese's Pieces.
Oh,
Gimme. I love
no,
them.
oh yeah, we love them too over here. They're big. Uh,
Yeah.
Dick McMahon wants to know.
Dick. Mwah! Hello, Dick.
Oh, okay, yeah, he came in earlier. He says, "Did you know that Americans need to hold their cameras upside down when they're in Australia? Otherwise, photos taken down under will be on the wrong side up when they get back to the U.S."
Dick is
um,
the friend that I mentioned in Oregon. Beautiful man. One of the most
okay.
beautiful speaking voices you've ever heard.
Oh, sweet. All right. Well, he came out to support you. Thank you so much, Dick. That's awesome, man. So him and I can relate to having friends down under. It's like I
Yeah.
said. I mean, it's like I said. Like I was just clueless. I was just freaking clueless. I didn't think anything. I didn't think anything of typing it to my friends saying "Have a good day" or "What are you doing right now?" And it's like, if I would have looked, it would have been like, "She's fucking sleeping, dolt." It's like. Um,
Dick, my love to Franny as well. Franny is Dick's wife.
Okay, awesome. Um, okay, so now you want to be acting. Now you want to do acting. How old were you when you got into it? And what did your parents think about that? Were they supportive of you? Were they encourage you? Was there anyone in particular that inspired you to become an actor? To take that next step and start your training.
Yeah, there was uh, mum and dad generally supported it. They really all they wanted me to be was happy, I guess. I remember mum taking me to some of the open days where we could talk to people who went to NIDA, for example. NIDA was um, back in the day quite exclusive, difficult to get into. They didn't have so many short courses. They were more long-term, full-time courses, and some of the most famous actors came out of NIDA. Mel Gibson, for example. and that's all I wanted to do. I guess I started formal training around about the age of oh dear me, when I left high school. So I was about 18. And when I say formal training, I mean you go there every day, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and you study. You study the craft. I was exposed to a lot of Chekhov and a lot of Stanislavski, and a lot of method. And over the years, I've realised that a lot of the stuff that I thought to be true in terms of technique can be undone in a single session with a gentleman kind of like the I won't name any names, Howard Fine.
No.
He yeah, the work that he does is incredible. And I still try and train whenever I can. So much of it over the last 2 years has been online, dialing
Right.
into American accent courses or English accent courses, or just speaking with casting directors, and they give you the benefit of their experience. I mean, gosh, I'm 52 on Monday.
Happy birthday!
Thank you, sir. And as a side note, it will be my second birthday, the second time I've had a birthday in lockdown, because last night at 8 p.m, Victoria went into another 7-day lockdown.
I was going to ask you about that. When we talked to Sean, he said there he was in lockdown too. So you guys are back in lockdown.
From 8 p.m. last night, so we'll be out of it hopefully next Thursday. We'll see.
Yeah.
I know what happens when these things get out of control. You open up a little bit too soon, infection rates spike again. I mean, where are you at the moment? We've got, what, 200 million deaths, I think? 100,000 in, what, UK, Russia, France, Indonesia. How many in the US now? 600,000?
Over 600. Well over 600,000. Yeah. How many people passed away in Australia?
Well, it's almost like a first world problem here. We've only had a couple of deaths over the last few weeks. One death is bad enough. So
Right.
a handful of deaths. I will actually quickly Google that for you.
And that's really affected you as far as your career goes. I mean,
902.
have you gotten any acting work since the pandemic started?
Yes, I have. I've been very, very lucky because so much of what I have done over the years ago, I made it my mission to be able to take hold of the online concept, because back in the day it was, if they had to fly you over to LA to do your audition, the rule of thumb was if they sent you back on a first class flight, you got the job. But all I could see in terms of the future was using the online medium to not only self-tape, audition. I'm not saying I was prescient in any way. It's just because I was mostly self-taught in terms of PCs and computer technology. I could just see that happening, and it did. So I'm very, very comfortable with working on my craft online.
Yeah.
And so I've done let me see. I got three acting gigs during lockdown. One of them was earlier this year, which is still on TV. They're commercials, advertisements, and I do have a few side hustles as well. I teach. I do film and photography workshops with children and young adults who have special needs or additional needs, and that lends itself to Zoom or to Teams or whatever the medium is very, very easily. Crappy bandwidth notwithstanding, though, that's what kills us most of the time. And my children are back on online learning today, and I've had to come to the advocacy centre that I work out of because they've got a nice snappy 5G network. Yeah, it is what it is.
I got another question for you. It says here, can you talk about your experience on Lead Me Astray and Three Blind Mice?
Lead Me Astray and Three Blind Mice. Oh, okay, wow. Three Blind Mice was one of the most wonderful experiences I'd had because a friend of mine somehow befriended a producer. Said to this producer, "Oh, my boyfriend, actually at the time, my boyfriend, he's an actor. Can you get him a job?" And he did. So I went to this little cafe in oh goodness me, where was it? Balmain. It wasn't far from Balmain, which is a suburb out in Sydney's east, and a lovely fellow by the name of Matthew Newton, very, very fine actor. His father is Bert Newton, who for many, many, many years had a wonderful show with Don Lane, variety style shows. Matthew had gotten some of his acting friends together and wrote and directed this short film called Three Blind Mice. It's online. If you find it, watch it. It's the tale of some friends who were in the Navy, here on shore leave. Some shenanigans and hilarity ensues. So I'm feeling blessed. I walk onto this set, and there I am. It was a restaurant scene. Talking to Matthew Newton, talking to some of the other Australian actors that he managed to get working on the show, getting autographs.
Oh,
all that, so unprofessional. Why not? And I, yeah, that was one of my first professional credits. You know,
how did you feel? I mean, how did you feel when you're on there and you're meeting these stars and whatnot? I mean, did you feel like you were worthy, that you were a peer? Were you intimidated?
I've always felt, how can I put it? I've always felt blessed, privileged. There was, and I've become more professional. I don't wander around and ask for so many autographs these days. Like I do the job, and then when it's finished, I ask permission, and then I go and get an autograph. But the only time I've actually felt awestruck is on a TV show that I did that was written and that was produced by Brian Brown and Sam Neill. So I walk onto the set. G'day, Val. I turn around. It's Brian Brown. Okay.
Wow.
Everyone loves Brian Brown. How you going, mate? Good, Mr. Brown. Brian, great audition, mate. And I said, oh, thank you. Can I have an autograph?
Did you ask for an autograph? Did you ask for an autograph? Oh, my God.
He autographed my script, and then I shook his hand and I said, man, thank you so much. It's so unprofessional of me, but I love you. He said, mate, thank you. And I said, look.
Brian Brown's awesome.
Oh, God.
Two of my favorite movies of his by still are FX.
Yes, yeah, FX, yeah, with the
Brian FX, Art of the Illusion. Oh,
that's
yep.
Brian Dennehy was a wonderful, wonderful actor. Oh,
Brian Dennehy, amazing. Definitely top 20 character actors ever.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, with the likes of Emmett Walsh. Yeah, just one, and Charles Durning, who I think has been in every movie since, like.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, we were just talking about Charles Durning because we've been watching this movie. We've been talking about this movie called Dark Knight of the Scarecrow, and it was a made-for-TV movie. It was the very first movie made that featured a scarecrow as a the character. It was like a horror show. And Charles Durning played the bad guy. And it was so weird seeing him play the bad guy because he never did. He always played like the good old boy. But go ahead.
Yeah. He did play the good old boy. I recently saw him again. It just popped up on TV called oh gosh, not the Philadelphia Experiment. That was Michael Paré. The name of the movie's left me, but it was a time travel. It had Martin Sheen, it had James Ferrantino, and
the final countdown.
That's the one. And they're on the. What a great film that was! And Charles Durning pops up, and he says, "Where do you get the money for all this? You're riding around on a boat named after Admiral Chester Nimitz?" Because it was the USS Nimitz.
That's a great. I'll tell you something, Val. I actually saw that movie in the theater. Me and my dad, we actually saw that in the theater. And playing right next to it was Caddyshack.
Oh, Caddyshack! That's your home.
The Cinderella, the Cinderella kid. So that's Charles Durning and Brian Brown. I remember he popped up on a Winds of War over here. He was huge in Winds of War. Yep. If I'm not mistaken, he actually married Rachel Ward in real life, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. Just
and of course, Sam Neill. Still, even today, you see Sam Neill, and you're gonna go buy it. I can't tell you how many Sam Neill movies I have. I have tons of Sam Neill movies. The last
go on. Sorry.
The last movie I got of his, I watched a movie called Mystery Road.
Oh yeah, wow. Yeah, he's iconic. Even in the smaller roles, like well, not smaller, but the supporting roles, like The Hunt for Red October, for example. I mean, I cried when he gets shot and he says, "I would have liked to have seen Montana," and he shuffles off the mortal coil. But I had very few regrets, but I regret not approaching him on the set, because after I spoke with Brian, we went and did some rehearsals, and then they called lunch, and there's Sam sitting eating, got a couple of friends around him. I stop, I kind of look at him. He looks over at me and gives me a little bit of a wave. And I couldn't, because he was eating lunch, I couldn't go over there and ask him for his autograph. And I regret not trying to get that afterwards. Similar tale that I had when I was working in the music industry, and I went to see a Jackson Browne concert, and I got to go behind the stage because we all had access all area cards, and I got Jackson Browne's autograph, and I walked past, excuse me, Bonnie Raitt, and she was just sitting there reading a book, and don't I, and I didn't, and it's a pretty pathetic kind of egocentric regret, but damn, I should have got that autograph.
I like, it's funny. I like that. I think it's very charming, actually. I worked in the business for 10 years myself, and I never was into the autograph thing. I was just peers. There's peers. I was the guy. I was the guy booking the bands and paying them out and all that other stuff. I got a couple, but I just never was. But I had my fanboy moments. There was times where there was a few artists that I went up there and said, "Can you sign this?" If I had signed up everybody that I had, if I would have had like an autograph book, it would have been like this big.
Oh, wow.
It would have been like this big. It would have been of everybody I met. But I like the idea that you recognize that because being an actor yourself, even if you recognize this, but one of the things that you cherish is your private time, especially if you're sitting on a set. And you're sitting on a set, you got some time. Yeah, you might be having some lunch with some mates, maybe, but at the same time, but you're decomposing. You're resetting for the afternoon shoot or whatnot. You're sort of like resetting, and you want that time to yourself so you can recharge your battery and get into it. And the last thing you want to do is be an actor. You just want an hour to be Val. So. I think that it's awesome that you didn't do that. I think it's plus it shows them, to me anyway, it shows to them that you're a peer. You're here to do the same job that they're doing, and they're no better or no worse than you are. You're right here. You guys are both on the job and whatnot. I mean, I know some people do that. I know some people run out there, and you're not supposed to. Can I get a picture? Can I get an autograph? It just makes it seem like you're more of a fan than you are a working actor. But when you're young, I think that's almost to be expected. But I also know too, there's consequences. I have heard stories of young actors on set that have done that and have lost their job for it.
Yeah. That's I've made it my mission over the years as I grew. I thought, no, Val, you've got to be more professional. You've got to be more professional. The opportunities will present themselves, and if they don't, then maybe they were never meant to be. Oh, sorry, I completely forgot. There was the question, the other film, Lead Me Astray.
Yeah. Yes.
Now my experience on that was, again, here was a job that I got through a friend of a friend. Again, how lucky am I? It was filmed in Gosford, which is one of the coastal towns. It's not a town anymore, more of a city, halfway between Sydney and Newcastle. And the director, Tom Danger, or Danger, it's spelled Danger, but it's pronounced Danger. Very, very talented young man. Loves his thrillers, loves his horror films, loves his narrative tales. And he wrote and directed and shot this film, pretty much did everything, all about the serial killer, Henry Guine, and it was like an origin story uh, uh, of a serial killer. You got to meet his parents, you got to see him grow up, you got to see him get into trouble. So I played his father, and the friend who got me the job played my wife. And it wasn't a student production. It was a professionally shot feature film that Tom and his family, I mean, it was a passion project, and I was just so touched. I'm so touched by the way that filmmakers can create something out of nothing and develop friendships and networks that last forever. And they're the kind of people I want to work with, because you are on a set surrounded by people who are time poor, who are stressed, their backs are turned, they've all got a job to do, claustrophobic. If you can spend time with those people and work with those people in that environment and not kill each other, then I want to work with you for the rest of my life.
Right.
And that was how Tom made this film. And it was a great little film. I actually wasn't very impressed with my performance. I don't go back and watch a lot of the stuff that's been filmed by someone else. If I film my own stuff, I will tend to go back and revisit and just learn. Okay, Val, you could have done that differently. That was a poor choice. So I use it less of a vanity piece and more of an
Learning.
instructional video, if you will. But the actors in that film, many of them young, just superb. It was a wonderful experience. I was only there for 2 days. Yeah, lead me astray. It's out there. It's online.
I also noticed too. I didn't see this the first time when you and I talked. I would ask questions, but you popped up on a soapy. I'm just showing my new word I learned.
Which one? The Deadly Women, or no?
Home and Away.
Oh,
Soapy. I learned that. I learned that term. I thought I'm going to impress Val with that. I'm going to drop that on him and see how he thinks about that.
That's what they are.
Yeah. I mean, I never heard that term until like 10 days ago, and then someone talking. I was talking to Sean. He's, oh yeah, I was on a soapy. I'm like, a soapy. Yeah, that's what we call soap operas over here. We call them soapies. Yeah. Like, all right. But you did one. You actually popped up on one. I think those are really. That's like a. Man, that's like a really good thing for an Australian actor to do, right? I mean, it's almost like a badge of honor to get to pop and do a soap.
Yes, yeah, very much. I was blessed, and all of those soapies. Soapies. Actually, to digress slightly, if you can find it, look for a movie called Soap, which had I think Whoopi Goldberg, Robert Downey Jr. It's years old, but it's funny film. In the very, very, very early days of my career, I was very lucky to get a number of small roles, or just blink and you'll miss me parts, bit parts, a bit player on shows like Home and Away and All Saints. I still, to this day, even though I have auditioned numerous times, I still haven't managed to bag one on Neighbours yet, but I still have time.
Yes.
So if you're out there, Thea McLeod, watching, please, I'll do a walk-on role. I'll come and make coffee. I don't care. But that Home and Away experience, I was lucky enough to have 2 or 3 episodes there. One of them, I attended the funeral of a major character who was leaving the series, and it was the first time that I was touched in a way that, because when you're on a film set like that, it's so clinical, particularly the TV shows, the soapies. You've just got to get it done. There's no time for, hey man, how you going, mucking around. Do the job. But on this occasion, after we did a couple of takes, I was seated behind one of the major characters at this funeral, and I just, I dug deep. I did the method thing, and I started crying because I'm at a funeral, right? The director came over to me after they called cut and said, "Man, that was beautiful work." And I thought, okay, wow, thank you. He was genuine, and I hold that gentleman in very, very, very high regard to this day, because he took the time to notice somebody trying to do something a little bit more than just sit there. You betcha. My apologies. The state president of the Veterans Association has just given me the okay to stay and turn off the heater when I leave. Thank you, Dave.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was. These are the individuals that I hold up, that I idolize. The ones that just do something different. One of my, I call her a mentor. Beautiful, beautiful woman by the name of Linda Stoner, who was a huge TV star back in the day here in Australia. A very, very popular TV show, crime show called Cop Shop, and she was instrumental in my early days, mentoring me, helping me, teaching me. She doesn't act anymore. She's now a very, very well respected proponent for animal rights, and she's still out there. And I spoke to her a couple of years ago. Her husband, you'll like this. Her husband, who passed away a few years ago, was Peter Sumner, the only Australian to appear in Star Wars.
Oh, okay.
And she, yeah, I adore her, and yeah. Sorry, I went off on a real. I'm getting all misty-eyed now.
No, that's fine. No, that's fine. That's what I love it. So I mean, you progressed. I mean, your career has. Do you feel like every role you've gotten has built up? I mean, every role that you've done has gotten a little bit larger and a little bit larger. I mean, you're featured more. So you feel like the hard work's paying off. What a terrible time for the pandemic to hit, though, right? I mean, it shut down. Yeah, but you said you got lucky. Did you get some? Did you have work during the pandemic? I mean, what did you work on?
Yeah, I did. Well, I when there were no actual film roles or commercials, although again I did manage to bag 3, actually 4, but the 4th one was just a little walk-on role, 4 television commercials, both last year and this year. So and they pay very, very well. So I was able to just keep the wheels turning. But my film workshops as well, they went online, and that kept me going. And sometimes I wouldn't even charge the organisation that I was working with, because for me to get online and teach children, adults, again, special needs, additional needs, it nearly brought me to tears on many an occasion, because all they wanted to do was be in the studio with me, working on the cameras, working with the lights, filming little things, little interviews, stop motion animation. They couldn't do it. They were all holed up in their bedroom or their lounge room with a crappy internet connection. Sometimes I wouldn't even charge them for the work because, you know, some things you just can't teach online, or if you do, you're just retreading the same old stuff. So quite often we'd just have these Zoom sessions and we would just talk shit for 3 hours.
It's funny. I right before I got on, I actually was while I was sharing this out, I was listening to a teacher, author, and a coach named Stephen Foster, and he was holding a class called the Gold Vein, and he had a group of actors, and he was teaching them, and I was actually listening to it while I was doing my work, and I got to tell you, I could definitely see the benefits of that. I mean, what he was telling them and how he's encouraging them. I mean, it's just can't be overlooked, and it cannot be underestimated how important it is. I mean, the fact that you were there for them, these kids, especially special needs kids, and you're sharing your craft and your knowledge with them. I mean, it's something that you like to do. You like to give back. Tremendously. I mean, you're one of the most generous people I've ever met in terms of that.
Oh, God bless you. Thank you.
Well, I mean, we talked about this, and so now it's a good time to segue to it. But you have worked for as a volunteer firefighter. You worked for a volunteer Coast Guard. Now you're working to save Australian soldiers. I mean, what drives you to get back to your community and to your country? Where did that come from? Was that from your parents?
Gee, there are a number of figures that have loomed large in my life. One of my uncles was a very, very highly respected journalist who still consults for the television industry to this day. And even though I tried a couple of times, he always said to me, Val, I will never help you get a job. That's how what's the word I'm looking for? That's how much integrity he has, that he refuses to go anywhere near anything even remotely with the whiff of nepotism. It's never helped me get a job, but he brought me into the industry at a very early age, and he introduced me to people. He showed me how journalism worked. I went to a few television studios back in the day. His sister, my aunt, was also a highly regarded television producer. She worked for just about every television station here over the years, and the both of them, I saw them in these highly charged situations where people are shouting at each other because the tape didn't roll on time, and they're swearing their heads off, and things are breaking, and they managed to maintain not only calm, cool, the integrity of the job, but at the end of it all, they always said thank you to every single person that they were working with on the day. So there's that. Then there's my godfather, who lives in Athens, scholar, a student of Latin and a few other languages, and he impressed upon me, and my dad as well, because they were the best of friends. Well, they still are. My godfather impressed upon me the importance to always try and give back something, like, every day if you can. And it doesn't have to be as grand as I don't know, not charging your students a couple of $100 because you don't want to. I mean, it could be as simple as, helping somebody cross the road.
Yeah.
Or saying thank you to a complete stranger, or the kid that's in the checkout chick, the one that just got yelled at by some customer who didn't have his a particular brand of Dunkaroos.
Yeah, where's the pumpkin flavored Dunkaroos at?
Where are the Dunkaroos? Say, tell them, you know what, you're doing a great job. You're doing a wonderful job. even if you can give a couple of bucks here and there to, I don't know, a charity of your choice or somebody else's choice, or buy a gift subscription for someone. Subscriptions for things like the New York Times and the Washington Post, Scientific American, even some of the Australian ones, they're so inexpensive. They're so cheap.
Yeah,
I think I'm paying $2 a week. No, $2 a month, I think, for the New York Times. Well, why not buy 4 or 5 subscriptions for somebody else? Look, this hat here. Dick, is Dick still there?
Let's see. Let's see if Dick's still here.
I'm really going off on a tangent here.
Nope. Yep, he's still here.
Okay, Dick. I've always been very impressed with organisations that help veterans, children, what have you. I came across this one, the Beau Biden Foundation, and all I wanted was a cap. And I contacted the Beau Biden Foundation, and they said, "We're really sorry, man, we don't ship internationally." So I sent a message to Dick, and I said, "Dick, if I wire you some money, I'll buy you a cap. I'll buy one for me. Can I have it delivered to you, and then can you mail me mine back?" And of course he said yes. And so, we're Dick and I are now together in our oneness that we both have the same very cool cap. Thank you very much.
Cool. Yep.
So when it comes to the veteran, I've never served. Yeah, I've done a bit of first responding work there, short stint, Coast Guard, firefighter. I now volunteer my time with Victoria Police as a firearms safety instructor, because it's all about education and safety for me. Pardon me. It is only coffee, I promise you. The fact that there is an individual who has, male or female, race, colour, creed, persuasion, doesn't matter. They've signed a check. That old saying from was it Top Gun? You're signing checks your body can't cash, right? They sign up for military service. It's not conscripted. It's not demanded of. It's not mandatory, like Greece, where you do your mandatory service, or Israel. Here it's a volunteer basis. Sign up, join the Army, join the Navy, join the Air Force. So many of these individuals come back, injuries, mental health issues, addiction issues. Some of them have lost fingers, some of them have lost toes, some of them have lost more. PTSD. their families then have to deal with all of that.
How did you get involved with the veterans? I mean, was this somebody you knew? Did you know somebody that it was in the service that came back, wounded or suffering from PTSD? I mean, or was it a coverage of a story, or
Oh, yeah,
how did you get involved in that?
well, that's a bit of a tale there. The all I ever wanted to do was make a make a film or a short film or maybe a documentary, or help tell the story in some way. That was always in the back of my mind. Draw attention to the plight of the veteran, if you will. So when I moved to Victoria, I was helping my in-laws take some second-hand clothing to one of the local, well, we call them op shops, the second-hand clothing stores. And I walk into this building. It's dusty. There's people running around everywhere, and there's all this military paraphernalia hanging from the walls. I'm thinking, well, what's this all about? So I just get to talking to the manager of the store, who introduced me to her husband, and it turns out they're all peacekeepers. The Australian Peacemakers Veterans Association were running a goddamn op shop in the southeastern suburbs of Victoria. So I'm thinking, oh, hold on a minute, there's more to this. Wow. So I just got to talking to them. And they introduced me to all of their colleagues, all of their families, their friends, and opened so many doors for me to try and get this. Well, what idea is it, Val? Your film? What is it? I don't know. All I want to do is, spread awareness, get those tears on camera. And then one day, one of them said, you know what, Val? Everybody wants to do that. Why don't you focus on something different? Take it from a different angle. Focus on our achievements and our positive psychology. And I thought, war, achievement, I don't know how I'm going to sell that. Turns out very easy. So they continue to open these doors, introduce me to some really, really high level individuals, opened my eyes to the concept that while there is the plight of the veteran, so many of them are sick and tired of this stigmatism that, you know what, we're all broken, we can't do anything. Well, turns out, and this is not just a veteran thing. I mean, it's first responders, even civilians, you and I, that just walk around the streets every day. CEOs of some of the highest ranking CEOs of the biggest organizations on the planet suffer from some form of recognizable or diagnosable PTSD. But you won't know about it unless they come clean or tell a story. So then going back to what I was saying earlier on about how I don't understand how these individuals can go and serve and then come back and then have to fight an insurance company like the Department of Veterans Affairs here, which is our equivalent of your VA.
Yeah, you were telling me that your version of the VA is run by an insurance company,
and they don't like to pay out.
My mind. That blew my mind. I just I cannot think of a worse type of organization to run Veterans Affairs than a freaking insurance company.
Yeah,
that just blew my mind when you told me that. It wasn't until it wasn't until I noticed that you're constantly raising awareness about this. I'll be honest with you. I just never. It's not selfishness or it wasn't being naive or callous or anything else. I just never knew. Here I'm in America. We have our own thing. but like I knew Australians served. I know they have missions. Like I know they've been in Afghanistan, and I know they've been in Iraq, and I know they've been in South, Southeast Indonesia and whatnot. I just
Yeah.
never thought about them being in combat enough that they actually had enough veterans that were messed up by combat or by the stress of it. I just didn't think there was enough there. But lo and behold, what did I know, right? I didn't know until you started raising the awareness, and now I noticed that when you're saying how, like how, what was it? Like basically a veteran, what 10 veterans a week were dying. Now that doesn't sound like much to us here in America, considering that we lose veterans to 23 to 25 a day through suicide, and that's just
Yeah.
the ones that are known to be suicidal. But if you have to think of how small Australia really is, that 10 per week is probably the equivalent to what we're losing here right now. That's
Yeah.
astronomical. That's heavy. And the fact that, and the fact that there's your VA is, more into the insurance aspect of things, more than going out there and helping them with resources, helping them with therapy, helping them with mental health, helping them with PTSD, or if need be medical help. I mean, there's a lot of injuries that just because you can't see them doesn't mean they're not there.
Yeah.
So I just think it's outstanding that you got involved with this. I didn't know until you raised awareness to me, and I just think it's outstanding. That's really, I just think how important it is. And as far as not serving, um, you can serve very, like I said, you serve. We all serve in a sense. Anytime that we pay our taxes, we are where our money is helping our men and women in the armed forces. It's
Yeah.
helping our first responders. I gladly do that. Um, and so there's different ways to serve. Like I couldn't serve because my eyes just couldn't, it just were too screwed up. But
Mm.
I can still serve in the fact that I can raise awareness such as you did, or you are doing. I just think that I don't necessarily think that you need to serve to serve within those forces to actually be a part of the force, as far as giving back, because you know what, there's a lot of veterans that they just do their time and they fade away.
Yeah.
There's a lot
Yeah.
of them that all they want to do is they just want to get out and just leave everything behind. And then there's always going to need people like yourselves to step up and stand in the line and help the other ones that are there. I think it's a tremendous thing you're doing. I
No,
think it is.
thank you, man. I so very much appreciate that, and it behooves me now to keep going um, because the veteran community here has opened its arms to me and my family in such a way, because it's very hard for the veterans. They're a closed community. For some guy to walk into a store one day and say, "Hey, I'm from Broken Hill. I got a camera strapped to my back. I want to make a film about you." They go, "Yeah, check."
Mhm. Right.
I just, all I want to do now is just spread that awareness. It's actually gotten me. I've volunteered a lot of my time, but it has also gotten me a fair bit of paid work as well, because I've got all of the professional equipment. I can help them put together little advertisements or little chats to camera, raising awareness of the veteran suicides. And by the way, my Australian friends, if any of this is disturbing you, Lifeline 131114. Just last Monday, I found out that in the 58 years that Lifeline's been operating here in Australia, last Monday they had over 3,300 calls, the most they've ever had in a single day in the 58 years. And you've got your National Suicide Prevention Lifeline there, my American friends, 1-800-273-TALK. All you got to do is pick up the phone, speak to someone, call someone, please. Call me.
We'll put the numbers in the description box, both for the Australian and for the American one, because like I said, we definitely want to keep raising awareness of it.
Yeah.
Now, have you ever sat in any groups where they've actually talked about their experience? I mean,
Yes.
not film it, but just sit in and listen to it.
Yeah, many times, and sometimes they've blessed me with the opportunity to interview them. So my film project has now morphed into more of an archive, where I'm going to archive these stories of achievement, positive psychology. Some of them run for a minute, 2, 3, 10. Some of them are audio only. Some of them are a video. It's the 100. That's the name of the project. Some of the sessions that I have sat in on, some of the stories that I have heard, those who have been able to take themselves back there, because that's the trigger for them, taking themselves back there. Yeah. I heard stories ranging from one lady I spoke to at the lower end. She joined the Australian Army when females were taught how to strip and assemble a rifle, but they weren't allowed to fire them. So they had to work twice as hard for half the recognition and the physical abuse and the verbal abuse and the mental abuse. She ended up leaving the Australian Army broken. She never deployed, but mentally she was broken. What was her achievement? She was one of the first females to achieve the rank of sergeant just before she just before she left. And then the other end of the spectrum, because a lot of the peacekeepers that I speak with, they were in East Timor, Afghanistan, Iran, Iraq. One of my dear friends was in a Humvee when it got hit with or they ran over an IED, the improvised explosive device. His friend was killed. He sustained injuries that were life-threatening. They chopped him out. They got him on a helicopter. That was it for him. He was discharged, and he lives with that vision, that experience every day.
Yeah.
He came back here and he thought he could help, so he became a first responder. He became a paramedic, but it got to him in the end. It ended up destroying his marriage, a number of his friendships. He is a broken man, but he fought the insurance company for I think it was 8 years. I shit you not. Some of these veterans, in the time that I've been here, have said, "Oh, Val, I finally got my claims through. I'm finally TPI, which is totally and permanently incapacitated, so they can then get those health benefits, the treatment they need, the gold card, which gets them certain benefits, free travel or discounted travel, and a whole range of other health benefits." Oh, you finally got that. How long have you been pursuing that? 12 years, 18 years. 18 years?
18 years.
So I am in the company.
Why doesn't Parliament? I mean, you guys have a prime minister, you have a parliament. how come they don't do reforms? I mean, it's got to be. I mean, what's the government do? It's almost like they've forgotten these guys. Totally forgotten these guys.
Yeah. Well, as it's been explained to me, because it's all about getting a royal commission into how they can reform, how they can change. They have been trying to get the Australian government to create a royal commission into veteran suicide for years. One veteran on average, the ones that they know about, dies by suicide every 2 weeks. That's just the average. And like I said, 8 individuals a week, sometimes 12 a week. During the pandemic, those numbers went up. But there's no royal commission. There's no investigation. Why? They had a royal commission into gambling, for crying out loud. A royal commission into the aged care industry, which they definitely needed, because there were a lot of reforms that they needed to address, a lot of systemic failures in the aged care industry. Finally, after years of vigils, protests, suicides, only just in the last couple of months they finally gave the go-ahead for a royal commission into veteran suicide. And every time I've spoken to the veterans who are at the forefront of all of this, they've all said the same thing. There are so many high-ranking members in the military who they think are probably terrified about the truth coming out, that they've managed to just push it to one side.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Yep. Don't ask, don't tell. But it's now a reality. The terms of reference have been drafted, so they are aware of they've agreed upon which aspects of this systemic problem where they need to address, where they need to reform, where they need to add resources, or in some aspects maybe take resources away from, because they're being wasted. It's going to be 2023, they think, by the time this whole Royal Commission is finally done, dusted, and they produce their findings. So there's still a long way to go, and they're still keeping the pressure on the government, because with these royal commissions, it's all about who's running the show.
Well, and the government should keep the pressure on. I mean, I know that the Australian Ministry of Defense, I know they want bigger budgets. I know they're trying to get, I actually keep track of that. I know they're trying to replace all, they're trying to get new planes in. They're trying to build ships. They're trying to get bigger budgets, because of the China situation. So they want more and more money. And the fact of the matter is, I think the government can sit there and say, yes, we'll give you more money, but we want something back. What good is it for us to keep, giving you more money for more equipment when the people we have serving underneath it are coming back broken and killing themselves? I mean, it's not doing us or you any favors when you hear about that. A veteran has walked up maybe walked up in the middle of a street and shot himself or whatnot. It's tremendous. It can send all the wrong messages. I don't understand. Same thing with us. Our chief of staffs. They give good lip service here. For as much money as we spend on our defense here in the United States, we really do shit for our veterans as well. Considering the money that we spend, We spend $3 billion for the Zomwat destroyer that can't even cross a damn ocean, but
Yeah.
we can't take 100 million of that and put it toward veteran care. It's a disgrace. I think it's an international problem, but it's something that we never heard of over here. We never. I don't like I said. It's not. I don't think. I like to think it's not because we're selfish. It's just that because we just weren't aware. And the fact
Yeah.
of the fact of the matter is that we dragged you. Think about it. After 9/11, we basically dragged Australia to Afghanistan, to Iraq, to Lebanon.
Mm.
You guys are there because of us. Hey, we need your help. And there you guys go. You guys come up there and you helped us out. And
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned, we're part of the problem. The United States is part of the problem, playing the policeman and grabbing all our coalition allies, and we have done a lot of this damage ourselves to you guys. I just think that it'd be important for us to help you. I think it'd be important to help you in some way, whether it be to run your commissions. I mean, we do a good job at finding out the causes of
Yeah.
PTSD, and we do find a good reasons. We know how it's caused, why it's caused, who has it, what demographic will have it more than others. But then when it comes down to like paying for it, that's where we have the problem.
Yeah.
Um, I think with you guys, what you're telling me is like they don't really know. They really don't know who has it, who doesn't. It's like you're saying that you mentioned how they're sort of looking the other way. Is it because they're looking the other way? Is it because it's such a stigma that a lot of veterans don't say anything, and that the brass doesn't recognize when a soldier's in trouble? Because of that stigma. Because you don't want to be the one guy to stick your hand up and say, "Yeah, I'm fucked up. I need some help." You don't want to do that. You don't want to appear to become weak, so to speak, which
Yeah.
is wrong. There's nothing wrong as a veteran to come out there and say, "Hey, I need help." And
Yeah.
what's wrong is having your VA. Well, that's the first thing that needs to be reformed right there. I mean,
Yeah.
without a doubt, before anything else. You don't need a royal commission for that.
Uh,
That needs to be fixed right away. No insurance company should be running your veterans affairs. That's just that's a joke.
no. Well, it took on, because veterans love gallows humor, right? Really, black humor, and the Department of Veterans Affairs Facebook page. It wasn't uncommon for a veteran to put up a post saying, "I'm sorry, I can't do this anymore. I'm checking out of here." So, in effect, the phrase "the last post" took on this really grisly meaning. They would walk around with placards saying, "Deny, deny until you die." That was the motto of the Department of the Veterans Affairs. Because again, an insurance company doesn't like paying out money.
No, don't they?
No, and the ripple effect as well. I'm astonished at like the retirement villages for veterans, how they can often be mismanaged from a state and federal level. There's a village here not far from us in a suburb called Cheltenham, Vasey, Vascy, a series of homes, all subsidised, very cheap rent, sometimes free. Veterans are all living there. They've developed their own little community, and then all of a sudden, because the Victorian RSL has mismanaged its money to the point where they're selling off property to pay the gambling debts that are incurred by those one-armed bandits, the poker machines, the slot machines that they have
Oh man.
in
Yeah.
their clubs. Because during COVID, nobody's going in drinking beer, playing the slots. But the company that owns the slots, they still want their couple of dollars a day rent. So you've got a community of veterans who are living in a purpose-built compound, if you will, staring down the barrel of eviction because the RSL is threatening to sell all of that to pay off their debts. Look at what happened in Holyoke in Massachusetts, the soldiers' home there. What was it? 100+ veterans died from COVID because it was just fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah.
The ripple is.
Our leaders did nothing. I mean, not only did they die, but a lot of other people died because our leadership didn't do nothing. It denied it. It denied it. For one thing, I mean, Trump denied the virus. Then he blamed it on the Democrats, called it a hoax. And then it's just the poor leadership of our government. Either whatever country it is, it does always seem that the veterans always pay for it the most. It really does seem that way. It's okay to send our men and women out to die in foreign countries, but when they come back, I always looked at it sort of like our leaders are just playing army men. Really what it is. You see them just sitting there, and they don't see our troops as people. They just see them as assets. I'm going to move this asset over here. I'm going to move this asset here. What assets do we have over there? They're not assets. They're human beings. It's like, but listen, I just want to go ahead and because it's getting to be close to our time. I just want to say once again, thank you so much, Val. I mean, thank you for doing what you're doing. We will put every resource that you want listed. We will put that in the description box below. If anybody wants to help out, I will have that information down below. We'll put the suicide hotlines on here, both Australian and the U.S. We'll put those on here. Hopefully, when the Royal Commission gets going and there's some positivity going on, or you land your next big role, we're going to do this again. And
I'd be honored.
And we'll put your link down too, because we didn't get to talk about it, but we will definitely next time. I got this back in my head. We'll talk about your podcast too.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that next time through. We'll save that for next time. But I just want to say thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for explaining how it works down there. That's right.
That's what we're aiming for.
So we'll get there. I agree. I mean, we should never be a veteran ever being. No veteran should ever be left alone, especially no combat veteran. I mean, I have a special affinity for combat veterans. I mean, I respect all service people, but the people that are actually in the trench pulling the triggers, I have a lot of respect for that. That takes a special kind of courage to go out there and actually engage in combat. And I'd like to thank everybody in our chat. I know it wasn't the biggest and the sexiest discussion that we've had here, but it may damn well be the most important one that we've had here. And so not everything is all glam and glorious. Sometimes life comes up and has to be talked about. So we got to talk to Val both about his career and about importance of saving lives. And I just want to thank you guys all for showing up. And we will be back on Sunday for the midnight hour with Kelly Helen Thompson. The show will start at 10 p.m. Eastern time. So that'll be that'll be 12 o'clock your time. If you're up, You're more than welcome to come in. Thanks again, and just stay right where you're at, Val, and then and I'll talk to you.
Stay safe, everybody.